I'm bored. I wish there was a game where you could slap initial delivery on a main battle tank and zip around an earthquake city whilst dodging 600mm Karl Gerät mortar shells. If only. Let me ask you some questions. Do you like anime? Have you watched Girls on Panzer? Do you want to blow up an entire city block with a single shot? Are you a fucking weeb? Well then, welcome to Tokyo Warfare. This game has kind of disappeared out of nowhere for me. I was recently contacted by the developer of this game. And yes, you heard developer, as in single developer. This is an arcade indie game featuring modern and World War II tanks set in Japanese cities, because why the heck not? When I was first contacted, I saw some of the gameplay trailers and, well, trailers in general, and honestly I wasn't really too impressed at all. The graphics looked rather shoddy, the gameplay looked a little bit boring, but I thought, hey, I might as well try it out, right? What's the hurting in that? And to my unexpected surprise, this game is actually pretty damn fun. At least if your fun does not consist of being too anal about realism, and you don't mind taking a mouse tank against a Panzer II, because reasons. This game has, let's say, a rather interesting lineup of vehicles. The one we're currently driving is the Karl Gerät. Some of you might know this thing. If it looks huge and if it looks rather weird and if the cannon looks very stubby and big, that's because it essentially is. This is a German vehicle, which was built and was used, I do believe. And it features a 600mm mortar. This thing is a siege gun. This thing is huge. This thing is the biggest gun I've ever fired in the game, ever. And one-shots everything. Given if you hit it, of course. The turret traverse, can you even say turret traverse? The gun traverse is very narrow. Essentially you have to pull the front of your tank towards the enemy. And most of the time you're actually going to kill yourself more than you are going to kill the enemy, because if you hit as small as like post or lamppost or sign, your 600mm HE shell is going to blow up in your face. And you can kind of guess how that's going to turn out when you're on a huge unarmored target. But the Karl Gerät isn't the only derp tank in the game. You also have tanks like the KV-2. In fact, you have a lot of tanks. You have everything from derp guns like the Karl Gerät and the KV-2. You have main battle tanks from Russia, Japan, the US. You have German tanks, mostly World War II tanks to be fair. Although you do have the Maus, you have the King Tiger, you have the Tiger, you have Panzer IIs, you have Panzer IVs, M1 Abrams, whatever. You can put various camouflages on your tanks. As you saw in the intro, we put an initial decamouflage on a Japanese main battle tank because why the heck not? This essentially is just a game about having fun and just derping around. This is really just a derp kind of arena shooter where you can do the most insane things you can think of. I mean, Karl Gerät versus Panzer IIs. You can do that. Now, most of the gameplay you are seeing in the background was recorded against bots. Sadly, the multiplayer of this game is kind of dead. There aren't really many players playing this game. At least at the time that I've tried getting into multiplayer games, there was literally no one online. No one. Absolutely no one. Zero. Nada. Niente. Then again, this game has been out for less than a year on Steam, and it is not free to play, sadly. This game currently costs about 10 euros on the Steam Summer Sale. It's on a 34% discount. It does cost about 15 euros normally. That being said, however, price apart, I have to say, for a game that's developed by a single person, again, this is something that I have to hammer in, this is an indie game, it isn't bad, it really isn't bad. Okay, yes, the gameplay isn't very polished. I'm constantly fighting my gun and trying to aim stuff. I had issues with DxStory, the program that I usually use to record gameplay, essentially black screening the game. I had issues where when I had my joystick plugged into my PC, the game would just zoom in by itself and not allow me to zoom out, not letting me play. But after fixing those issues, I've just derped around and tried a couple of different tanks against AI, tried both of the maps. Which, by the way, speaking of the maps, they are actually destructible. The maps are mostly, if not completely, destructible. You can see all the carnage that the Karl Gerät is doing, but I've also did the same in the G part with high explosive shells, just taking down buildings and bridges and whatever, apart from blowing up tanks. In fact, you have a choice between two different shell types, armor piercing and high explosive on most tanks, not on every single one. Now there are the basic gameplay mechanics of armor piercing, losing damage over range, losing damage over angles, but honestly HE shells just seem to be in general the better type of shell, at least against Karl Gerät, driving in my main battle tank earlier. I had to hit the thing like 8 or 10 times with the AP shell to take it down, with the HE shell only 2 to 3 times. You also have machine guns on some of the tanks, which you can use to do some extra damage. Don't worry too much about facing off against mouses in your Panzer IIs, for example. Armor values aren't really modeled here. You're always going to do some damage. You might not do much damage, but you're always going to do some damage. The gameplay is based on hit point mechanics, as you can see on the bottom right corner of the screen. You have different hit point values for your turret and your chassis. When either of them reaches 0, you're pretty much down. There are critical damage values as well. When you take a big hit, like for example from a Karl Gerät, which you somehow survive, your cannon can be disabled, your track can be disabled, your engine can be disabled. When you are in very low hit points, your screen gets all fuzzy and confusing and everything. And just in case you don't want to live anymore, you can always press H and commit seppuku. Now if it's going to be worth the 10 or 15 bucks, that is up to you, really. Again, if you're going into it for the multiplayer aspects, it's probably not a good idea because there's no one playing multiplayer at the moment. But if you don't mind spending 10 bucks and having a couple of hours of fun just derping around against AI tanks in Earthquake City, or well, have a game that's constantly being updated, then maybe this isn't such a bad idea for you. And in fact, you might get this game for free. Why? There are game keys for Steam in the description. The game keys do expire in 24 hours, although chances are they will be grabbed already. And they're a one-time use key. You cannot use the key all over again. So grab them whilst you can. Be the first one to grab the game. As for if I am going to do more videos in the game, well, that actually depends on you. If you like the gameplay and the general style of the game and want to learn more, or maybe want to see some specific vehicles features, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on the ratings and on the comments of this video to see if it's actually worth it doing more videos on this. And if it is good, then maybe we might even do some multiplayer games, host some multiplayer lobbies and just derp around in our Karl Gerät's mortars or KV2s. For that I would suggest joining our Discord. That's usually where I announce all my events. Anyways lads, hopefully you have enjoyed this first and early look at Tokyo Warfare! My name is MikeGoesBoom, and as always, thanks for watching!
You can lift your head up to the sky, take a deeper breath and give it time. You can walk the path among the lines with your shattered frame of mind. Or instead you could always stay. We can wait right here and play until somehow you can find